Alright. Let's see. Is my camera working? Let me refresh here. Alright, guys. Happy rising there, brown dwarf. Dude, you need to call me. Can you guys hear me okay? Can everybody hear me okay? Are we okay here? Let me know. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Go ahead and type in that you can hear me. That would be awesome. Can you hear me okay? Let's see. Can you hear me? Are we okay? Hey, can you hear me okay? So let me know if you guys can hear me. Just say, yes, we can hear you. A little choppy. I wonder why. Let me see. Let's see. How's that? Is that okay? A little bit better? A little choppy still? Let me try my settings here real quick. Outputs. Suchin, you can hear me. Okay. Alright. Am I kind of choppy for everybody? Am I okay? You guys can hear me just fine. Okay. I'm going to restart this recording then and see how that works. Let's see here. We are good to go there. We are good to go. Apparently, I know this thing is spinning over here on YouTube, but can you guys see me moving okay? Am I like kind of real time, or am I lagging for you, or what? It's like, craziness. So, yes, you hear me? Got it. You're all good now. Okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Sasquatch coffee. Oh, by the way, in a tin cup. That awesome. All right. Michael Brandorf, and yeah, Brian. Okay, how we doing? You guys hear me okay? Okay, what happening? Just making sure you guys can hear me okay. I am going to lag a little bit right here on this screen and everything else. So far, so good. I hear you. Awesome. It's because I think these videos over here are finally done. So I'm going to try, like I said, I'm still new at the whole YouTube Live stuff, guys. And I'm going to learn how to get this thing to where it's like, grrr, snap it fast. So we'll do that. A little sip of Sasquatch coffee again. All right. You know what? First and foremost, got a new little giveaway. It's a children's Bigfoot book, Bigfoot book by Linda Newton Perry. So going to be giving this away next month, month of May. Also, this month, the winner, actually, I didn't get a name from you. So if you're watching this and you got my email, I need your address so my wife can put this in the mail for you. It is Minnesota Iceman, William Jebning, and it's actually autographed from a good friend, William. Pretty awesome. And just want to say thank you guys very much for being here. If you can still hear me okay, let me know. If we have any problems, just let me know. Cutting out again. Don't know why. I don't know why either. That is weird. And it froze. Can you hear me though? But you can hear me okay. You can hear me. Hey. Mine says live stream offline. Bad video settings. I don't know what it means. Bad video settings. I don't know how I'm going to fix that. Why is it being funky today? But you guys can hear me okay? Can't see or hear you now. Well, isn't that freaking stupid? Up again and working. Yes, you're good. Yes. At the moment, yes, yes, yes. All right, well, at the moment, we're just going to keep going. I'm going to figure out how to get this thing to work faster and everything. I even got a tech friend of mine. He might be able to help me out, so. And that'll be awesome. So want to say thank you guys very much for just being here. And like I said, Brown Dwarf, call me. Guys, Brown Dwarf is going to have his own little Bigfoot website out here too. You guys got to check that out. He's from NorCal, Northern California, and he's right in the heart of the Bigfoot area, so it's pretty cool. Let's see here. As I was saying before, I announced the winner this month of the Minnesota Iceman book from William Jebning. And for May, children's book, Lock Your Doors, Country Folk. It's by Linda Newton Perry. And I think it's with her husband, Christopher Perry. So pretty awesome. That's going to be the giveaway for May. It's going to be really, really cool. And usually, I haven't been here on Fridays, the last couple Fridays, because first off, we had Easter, and then my mother, by chance, was actually in the hospital about a week after I was. So I'm good. I'm fine. My mother was a little bit more worrisome, but she's doing fine now. All is great. She's at home, so she's all good. And if you guys have any questions about Bigfoots, anything like that, you guys can start slapping them in here. If you got any questions about, this whole community here, everything else, letting you guys know that, here's the deal. To kind of have this thing sustain itself only happens through your donations, and the only way that I actually monetize this thing at all to pay for itself is the AdSense. So I ask that you sit through the little commercials before you listen to the videos and the interviews and whatnot. And if you want to, you can donate over to the site. Greatly appreciate that. That helps to do that. Thank you, Monster X Radio. So that's how that works out. Anytime you see like advertising on the blog or anything like that, like it says Sasquatch Coffee Company, I don't get paid for that. I actually promote that stuff because I love it, and I know that you'll love it too. So, and actually, I really like to you know how it's like it's really awesome to buy American? Well, we also like to buy Bigfoot, so we try to keep it in the Bigfoot realm. Our coffee and some of our cups and our shirts and stuff like that. And Monster X Radio, I love it too. I know you do. Do you only get money from ads if the viewers watch the entire ad? It really depends. Some of them up to so much in seconds. It really depends, I think, on the channel itself, how popular the channel is, and everything else. Just so you guys know, when I started this out as just kind of an interesting, fun little place for me to share my own interesting experience and that of some friends of mine. Next thing you know, it kind of blew up. And I've started getting these little tiny bits and pieces of experiences from people, and then what I did is I took kind of the entertainment value and the experiences and put together these little based on true stories from people. And I get some of you are like, dude, can you create an encounter story out of mine? And so I've actually got a few of you right now that are in queue. You're all queued up. We're ready to go. I got your stuff ready, and it'll be published out here pretty soon. But just remember that the experience part of everything in here is from people. Whether they're true or not, I'm not here to decipher that. I am not some sort of police report taking BFRO. This is 60% entertainment, 40% educational, informational, shared experiences. So that's basically how that works. I want my PacWest t-shirt. Here's the deal. I've had, I can't tell you how many of you, and yes, I'm drinking this nasty looking health shake because I'm getting freaking old. But in between, I back that with a Sasquatch coffee. I've had so many of you guys asking me about like PacWest Bigfoot, like mugs and t-shirts and hats, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool. I never thought about that. Maybe I should. So, what I'm doing right now is I've got my good friend, and he's actually a neighbor of mine I go to church with, and his daughter's a great little artist. I mean, she's just awesome, a little artist, and she's actually going to create what I want to have, and just to get your guys' kind of feedback too, is I want it black and white because you know me, I'm kind of a minimalist in nature, kind of simplistic in nature, as you can tell by what I do online. I wanted to create like this little kind of like those kind of like really tall, what do they call those, like it's a spruce type of a pine tree up in Alaska where they're kind of thin and very very straight and thin, and I wanted to get like a bunch of those, right? And then underneath, kind of in a bow or kind of bent right there, it just says PacWest Bigfoot, black and white. I mean, that's really it, black print on white. And I'm just wondering if maybe that's kind of a cool, if you guys would dig that. Of course, it'd be white on the black shirts, black on the white shirts. I was thinking about doing coffee mugs. I was going to do knit caps. Probably a baseball cap because I'm a baseball fan, and of course I'll do t-shirts, long sleeves, and a hoodie. So if you guys want to do that, that's great. My wife is willing to set that up. I think over we're probably going to go over to Cafe Press like everybody else, but I don't want to do those really heavy, thick t-shirts. Those things that make you feel like your mom dressed you and you're like 8 and you're like, I'm so uncomfortable, and then you complain about it, and then she takes you out in the back of the church and spanks you and then brings you back. Yeah, I don't want those kind of shirts. I like nice, loose, kind of lighter fabric. So just so you know, Billy Monster, LOL. Yeah, I know. So basically that's what I'm going to be doing with that. As soon as I get them up, it is probably, I am really busy right now, and that's one of the other reasons I haven't been able to do the Friday things, is just because of that. What about camo, David? I can get camo colored stuff and put it on there. And what I'll do is here's the deal on the camo ones. I'm thinking this would be a great idea, is that they have to actually find the word PacWest Bigfoot. And here's the thing, we won't put it on. We'll tell them they have to find it. So just tell them it's there. No, I can see about camo, see how that works out. But anyways, lost my train of thought. I've just been really busy. As you guys know, I am a web developer. I am a professional blogger and search engine marketing specialist for people. So I get really busy, and this time of the year is like tax season. People are getting their refunds back, and they're wanting their little things online, and it's just like it starts getting real busy and stuff. And so being here on Fridays can be a little bit difficult. But just so you know, I am going to be going out and doing a little bit of research here and there myself around my area here in the Roseburg area, the Umpqua Valley and mountains around me. This summer, so I'm gonna be going out taking some pictures, seeing if picking up some Bigfoot tracker sign and like that, take some pictures, put it up there on the Facebook page and whatnot. So I'll be doing that. And if you guys want to, anytime, share your images and we will throw them up there on the Facebook page. We get thousands of views there, which is pretty awesome. David created the Monster. Yeah, I created the Monster X Radio website recently. It's pretty awesome. You guys got to go over there. Gunner and those guys, they just got everything there. I mean, it's just awesome. It's awesome. Great interviews. And those guys, they're really into that, like, break down these interviews, break down that kind of, this whole subject matter. So it's pretty awesome. You guys got to get over there. I'm new and loved your channel. Great, thank you very much. Thanks for putting up with my hacking and clearing of my throat. And the sipping of my Sasquatch coffee. I love it. It's who I am. It's what I do. Guys, got any questions about Bigfoot or anything like that, man? I've been reading a lot of information lately and listening to a lot of stuff that I've been finding pretty interesting. I had a conversation, and we're going to be having Gunner on here from Monster X Radio here this next week, and I'm just kind of putting that together right now. And we were kind of mentioning a little bit about some of the stuff that we think is really kind of far-fetched out here. And I don't mind being controversial out here and really kind of laying into what I think is the truth and what I think is actual, just completely false about this whole thing and this whole, subject matter. I believe it's a physical animal. I believe that Gigantopithecus never ever did go extinct. I think it exists today. And some friends found tracks behind their house in Tillamook. That is kind of interesting because I keep getting this guy that keeps commenting on me that he lives outside of Newport and had some. I mean, is it picking up because it's spring? Maybe they're moving into the coastal areas from the mountains back over here. Do they kind of, I don't think they migrate from here to like, Palm Beach because the weather's great. But do I have any stories from Arkansas? I'll answer that in just a second. Remind me. But I do believe that maybe, say, for instance, in the winter, maybe they move into the outlying mountains and stuff like that, and maybe move down towards the beaches and stuff like that when spring and summer start to hit, where they can do, a lot of clams, a lot of, spring storms bring stuff up onto the beaches, things that are edible can bring in all of that. So who knows? I mean, that's just kind of an idea. I think they are transitory versus migratory. Same here. I think they are transitory versus migratory. I don't really believe in this whole migration theory. I don't know why. I just don't. I think that if you find Bigfoot in Arkansas, they might move down through Oklahoma or something, or somewhere, Texarkana, and hang out in there. But they're going to pretty much stick around their region. I think for the most part. I think they're just going to move depending on that type of season of where they're going to be. I think for the most part. So, did you get here in the Pacific Northwest? And you guys can even ask Monster X Radio here. He'll tell you. It's just, we got, where I live is kind of like a banana belt. But you go up north, I mean, it's pretty rainy and cold. A lot. Everybody's like, you're from Oregon, you must get a lot of rain. I get a lot of rain here, but I don't get near the kind of rain that you see in like Portland or Seattle or anything like that. Not even close. So, get any stories from Arkansas? I don't think I've had any interviews in Arkansas yet. Have I? I don't think so. I think it was Kansas. Maybe it was Arkansas. But you can look back through some of the interviews and stuff like that. Now, on the actual website, PacWest Bigfoot, I do stick the encounter stories, which are all based on true stories. I take a little creative license with them. Just so you know, because this is, like I said, 60% entertainment, 40% informational, educational. But those are strictly, Pacific Northwest, Northern California, Oregon, Washington, and I'm going to start touching a little bit of Idaho because I've had quite a few people contact me from there with some pretty interesting little accounts. So it's been pretty awesome. I experienced one when I didn't know they existed. Suchin, well, you know what? I would love to sit down and have a chat with you and maybe do a little interview. That'd be awesome. PacWestBigfoot@gmail.com. So you guys can get me there. PacWestBigfoot@gmail.com. That would be pretty cool. I think most of it, it's just you start thinking about it, right? It's like, how many times have you been near one and not even know it? And how freaked out does that make you feel? What is my views on a possible government cover-up? First off, for a long time, I think the government was great at covering things up. And then probably over the last 15 to 20 years, the government has become so inept that they couldn't cover up a lid on a milk jug. So, yeah. So, oh yeah, and for those of you that complain that I'm kind of right-leaning, yeah, whatever. I am. I'll tell you this right now. Is there a government cover-up? I'm going to buy into that and say that there is at least some sort of lid trying to be held down on this thing. And I think one of the reasons being is that it could affect things like the tourism industry, the up here, in the Northwest, even though the lumber mills, the lumber industry has been decimated by, bad political thinking because I once heard the Audubon Society in California once told everybody that Oregon had no more trees. There was no trees in Oregon. It was in a magazine thing that they had. So I took a picture and sent it to them, and a video. The thing is that it could hurt even more certain industries here. It could hurt tourism industry, which is a huge part of Oregon. People don't understand, but Oregon is actually pretty huge. It has a real big tourist industry. I'm from Ashland, Oregon, originally, where we have the Shakespeare. Nearly 1.1 million people from around the world flock there because of the Shakespeare Festival. We have a replicated Shakespeare Festival from the one in England, also some other theaters. When you're walking around town there, that little tiny town, you'll run across famous people. I've sat down with people like William Shatner there, to I don't know how many people. I think the last person when I was there I was hanging out with was there was Nelly Furtado and somebody else, but you'd be amazed. But most of the stuff here is really outdoors kind of stuff. And when you think about it, I mean, you could really, really hurt that industry, I think. And so keeping a lid on that, I think for that reason, even though it's kind of a dangerous reason to do that, I would rather have, I'd rather know, since I do know. I mean, it's nice that I know that they're out there. This way I can go out there and be armed. I'm always armed. Even when my kids are around and I go out in the woods, I got a gun in the car, got a gun on me, whatever. Maybe that's another reason they don't, because they don't want anybody armed here anymore. I don't know. But the thing is Captain Kirk, TJ Hooker, the Priceline dude. Yeah. As a matter of fact, he had a little studio, studio there, and my ex-stepmother used to actually work for him for a little bit there in Ashland. So it's pretty cool. That was just my idea. Is there some sort of, government conspiracy? I think there might be. I think there is, to a point. There is. Like the lithium water. That's why they call it Lithium Park. Lithium. What do you think the Goat Man was drinking? Which is, and I believe they try to cover up, which is why proof needs to be shared with all. Yeah. No, same here. I think it should be. I was listening to a really awesome interview about a gentleman who had some, visual on his property on Sasquatch Chronicles, which I do follow. And, his brother works for the Forest Service, and he was, they do. They they really, really don't like that information being out there, and they will crush it as soon as it comes through. So do you think the national and state parks are sanctuaries for these creatures? Sanctuaries. I just think that's where they live. It's just they live and breathe there. I mean, it's like a bear in the woods. Is it in its sanctuary? It's just in its environment. Um, its sanctuary is kind of like one of those words that gets thrown around today, and I just think it's does a bear crap in the woods? That's because it lives there. So of course it does. Does a Bigfoot crap in the woods? Yes, because it lives there. It's where it is. It's where its being is. So don't ask, don't tell policy regarding Bigfoot. I think that's pretty much. I think it might go a little bit deeper than that. I think sometimes that they actually like shred stuff or burn stuff. It's like report's gone, report's gone. And they get rid of it. The 411 files should freak people out, especially with that wood. Anything that has to do with the woods and stuff. I mean, it's pretty crazy. So, let me see if I missed any more questions up in here. In the snow area, Sam Houston National Forest. Where is that again? That's down south of me, way south of me, right? Let's see. The end of finding Bigfoot is near. It's because the rest of us freaking found him. Those guys are just dancing in the woods. It blows my mind. People can talk themselves out of believing. There's way too much evidence. I can't wait till I can laugh in their faces. Yeah, Kane, it's one of those things. Like I said before, I'm a right-leaning Christian conservative feller. I don't like throwing things in people's faces so much, but I'll tell you this. Usually when the truth hits the fan, I try not to look at people and say, I told you so. Instead of that, I think one of the best things we can do is to start educating them on it. That's probably the best thing that we can do is to, just a good thing to do. Just start educating, start talking about it, start sharing it out there. Get out there in the mountains this year. Just make sure, here's the deal. When you're out there doing your research, be armed. Be smart. Be smart and be armed. Sasquatch bury their poop and try to hide the tracks. I don't think they're running around like cats and then, digging bushes and going like this with their tracks. I don't think so. Listen, I think that there's a bigger population than we actually believe to be out there. But I don't think the population is so huge that, there's 100 Bigfoot for every 5 square miles out here. Not even close, probably. But I do believe that there's a pretty decent sized population here in the Pacific Northwest. I think that they are transitory and that they flow anywhere between Northern California all the way up through Alaska. Do they move that far? Probably not even that far. I think the population maybe flows, like say from the Klamath Falls area, maybe over to the coastal range during the spring and summer, and then back towards the winter into the into the other areas. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they hang out in the coastal areas during the winter and then move out towards the mountain ranges in the spring and summer. So I don't really know about that, but I do have a funny feeling that they're not. No, no, I don't think so. I think they're animals. I think they're brilliant. I think they're smart. I think they're but I don't think they're walking around with brush behind them going, oh, gotta hide my tracks because Billy's coming through here today. I just don't think that's happening. So Captain, I don't think so. I found Major Scat in Mount Shasta. Yeah, I'd like to see a picture of that. Where is this? In Texas, that's what I thought. Yep. I've been to Texas. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming out of Texas. I don't know. It got really popular this last year or over the last year and a half. I know people are going to be like, well, it's always been popular. I mean, we really hear a lot of it over the last year and a half. Personally speaking, here's the deal. As far as my belief on regionally speaking of where these things actually, you got to remember that Why don't we have alligators in Oregon? Just a simple question you guys can answer real quick. Just somebody give me an answer. Why don't we have alligators in Oregon? Weather? It's just not all that friendly for them. It's hard for me to picture a Bigfoot in Cancun. It's hard for me to picture some sort of Sasquatch walking around in 120-degree weather being so dang hairy. I just don't see that happening. I mean, like, I just don't see that. We don't really see that kind of stuff in creation. Creation, when you look at the different creatures and the animals and just everything that's out here, it's built for its environment. It always is. It's built for its environment. And I just don't think that you're going to find 8 foot tall, hairy, old, big beast running around 80% humidity beaches in, Palm Beach, Florida. It's hard for me to imagine that. Now, I understand a skunk ape. I could get that. Something that's a little bit smaller, something that's a little, maybe not a dense a population or something like that. I get that. I see that. It makes a whole lot of sense. And if you really think about it naturalistically, or you think it in a more scientific way, you could see that kind of fits. That fits the mold of how nature works. And so that's kind of my idea. What's going on in Texas? Um, I don't see why they couldn't be down in the very northern parts or corners there of Texas, where it's very mountainous. It's more mountainous, more trees, more cover. Could be colder, whatnot. So it could kind of fit, them. Any reports of them wearing clothes, hitching a ride? I've had a personal experience. Connecticut, Ohio to Erie, PA. You know what? Primitive thoughts. PacWest Bigfoot at gmail.com. And Kane, you're right. Weather. Primitive thoughts. PacWest Bigfoot at gmail.com. If you could email me, that'd be great. I'd like to sit down with you, maybe do an interview if you like. That'd be great. Irish Warrior King Kane. I've had the exact same thing happen to me as well. Very frustrating, like. Yeah, here's the deal, guys. When people are like just total jerks to you about it, trust me, I get trolls on here going, "Oh, he's clearing his throat. Sounds like he's got a stick in it." I don't really care. Or when I sip on my coffee, I don't like the coffee. It's just so rude. Well, you know what? Until you have Sasquatch coffee, you've never had coffee, and trust me, you'll slurp that stuff all over the place. It's awesome. So there you go. Don't let them, berate you, get you down, or anything like that. Just keep doing your research. Keep doing your research. Keep finding those answers, and share them out here as often as you can. I'll see you later, Monster X. I'll catch you later, buddy. So Nini LL. Hopefully that wasn't me with this Sasquatch coffee thing. That's funny. Rock on with your coffee. I do, Kane. Thank you so very much. I love it. It's pretty awesome, pretty cool. But we're into this 36 minutes already. That's crazy. But I like to sit on here for about 45 minutes to an hour on Friday mornings. We homeschool. And just so you know, and at our church on Fridays, they have basically like a little get together every Friday. And so the kids all get together, different age groups, of course, class groups, and they hang out on Friday. So this gives me time in the mornings where I finish up some work I got to do. But I like to jump on here with you guys as much as possible, or as often as possible. So Memphis Sasquatch analyzed my Oregon trip this weekend. Found several Bigfoots on our channels. Nice. No questions addressed from me. Just another little Bigfoot farce. It'd be better if possible for them to work working skills, maybe with the right kind of pictures or something. If they learned it, maybe I'll find them easier. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm drinking mine too. Sweet today. Awesome. Wow, what does your church think of this? Actually, my pastor's wife, I knew my pastor when he was a freshman in college, and I was actually a maintenance guy at the time at the university he was going to in Ashland, Oregon, Southern Oregon University. And yeah, Brown Dwarf, I worked there for a while. Yeah, a few years. Brown dwarf's from my neck of the woods, I think, originally. So she actually, she's kind of into it. She really does that. As a matter of fact, I've had quite a few people from my church find this channel, and they're like, "Dude, that's very interesting." Some of the things that I talk about, because the thing is that if you really come from a more scientific and creationist kind of approach to things, you're going to find out that things really do make sense a whole much just better sense. And the thing is that for me, with my own experience and finding these tracks, and then I start seeing people going, well, Gigantopithecus was, died out millions and millions of years ago. First off, you weren't there millions and millions of years ago, and you can't tell me that the Earth's even been here millions and millions of years. The best evidence you have for that sucks. That's like telling me that evolution, is there, but there's no transitional species ever found, period. And you can't find them because you won't find them because it's unnatural. It's not possible. It's impossible today, as a matter of fact, because of genetic. DNA will not allow that to happen. We found that out. It can't happen. Yet because here's the thing. I mean, a lot of people are like, well, I say this at my church. People are going to be like, oh, no, they're not. They're not at all. As a matter of fact, I believe that that it was on the ark. I believe that whenever the worldwide flood happened, and everybody's like, "Oh no, here we go, Noah's Ark, blah blah blah." Here's the deal. Do you know that 95% of the planet's animals are no bigger than a house cat, and you can fit not only all the land-dwelling animals on that ark, but have plenty of room for all kinds of other stuff. So here's the deal. Um, um, Now, I'll get to that in a second, Daniel, about the giants and stuff. I don't believe that. And I went to Bible college, trust me. I don't really believe that. I think that that was a different thing happening there. But I do believe in Gigantopithecus. I do not believe that Gigantopithecus uh, is extinct. I believe that Gigantopithecus is our modern day Sasquatch or Bigfoot. I don't think it's a modern day version either. I think it's the same dang thing. I do. It fits. It fits science. It just does. It just does. So, maybe there's not as many of them. Maybe the numbers were never that big in the first place. We don't know. But what I do know is that, I mean, you have people talking about, Loch Ness Monster, for instance. There are small little dinosaurs still left over that we hear about all the time. We find new creatures all the time, from the billy ape to those fish that were supposed to have been died out millions of years ago are still being fished out of rivers and lakes and oceans. So, hello all in chat. Hey, Rollins. Yes, I believe that too. Yeah, me too. The giant thing, I don't buy that. I actually believe that was. I did about 6 months of study in angiology, and I do believe that there was a race here for a long time that was not purely human. They were giants, and I think eventually they just kind of faded away. That's just genetics over time. Matter of fact, that's actually why people live so long for a long time and things start getting kind of down. Well, it's because genetics, things break down. It's called the law of thermodynamics. It's just how it is. A child is born and they just grow, and eventually things fall apart over time. It's just how it works in the natural world. So, you have any suggestions for checking out the Creation View? Curious to learn more. I really do enjoy Frank Turek. He has a great thing on that. He uses an acronym called SURGE that makes a lot of sense. As a matter of fact, if it's like Einstein, he's the one that kind of figured everything out in the first place. He actually put a fudge factor into his mathematics that Jastrow caught, and Jastrow's like, you can't do that right there. And he's all, but I know why you did, because if you don't, then you basically proved the existence of God and creation. And he did it through what we know today used to be the theory of relativity is not a theory anymore. It's a fact. As a matter of fact, there were basically five things that we needed to know to prove that it was true and not a theory, and we have found all of those today. So it just takes time because we became a little bit more technologically advanced, and we got things. Came across things that we could learn, and we could dive into things a little bit more. It's kind of like um, you know, what's his face? I don't, like Charles Darwin's whole theory of man to monkey and stuff. I don't think that Bigfoot is any sort of human being or anything like that. I believe it is an animal. I believe it is Gigantopithecus today. It's just what I believe. So, if you have any, other beliefs or anything like that, I don't, it's just what I find to be true. Uh, I don't believe in alternative facts. I have no idea what that is. I don't know. But Vikings encountered Bigfoots. I have heard some pretty awesome tales and some pretty awesome pieces of information throughout, because I really enjoyed cultural anthropology, the movement of man and the growth of man throughout the world as he started to populate the earth, which was pretty awesome. And there was some pretty interesting thing where Vikings would actually, when they came over here to North America before, pilgrims and everything else did, there were some pretty interesting old, people call them fables and tales, but I really think they are really encounters and stories that happened. It's pretty interesting. You can't sit there and have Native Americans have, up to 500 different names of this thing, and not have something to it. It's just, you just can't. It's just, that's like going around saying Pontius Pilate didn't exist. Yeah, he did. How do we know? All kinds of evidence. We got verbal evidence. We've got written evidence. We've got all this kind of evidence out here. So, Leif Erikson saw them and left. I've heard that. I'm not really sure about that, but, I don't know, man. Whatever I heard that night freaked me out. So, yeah. Any sightings in Massachusetts, right? I don't know. I don't know. I know that there's some encounter stuff out there. I know that my good friend William Jevding has people out there that have had encounters and stuff like that. So MA might be pretty cool. So you can check that out, King. Let's see. This is pretty boring for a knower. I have no idea what that means. You mean this whole conversation is pretty boring? If you don't want, you can go to Sasquatch Chronicles. They're pretty awesome. They got some more stuff over there. It's pretty cool. I think Suchin has seen one too. Yeah, I'd like to contact you, Suchin. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. I'd like to sit down with you. And anybody else, I mean, if you have any encounters, weird experiences. I got a gentleman who's had weird experiences. I haven't seen anything, but I'll tell you what, he's got some pretty crazy stuff going on around their cabin. And I'm going to have him on here this next week, so look for that interview. So, Seesaw came out, was covered with red hair. Read Genesis. I've read Genesis. I understand the hair. You got to understand that it's kind of like, why are black people black? Why are white people white? Why are Asian people sort of, dark, yellowish, brownish colors? There's no such thing as multiple races in humanity. There's only one race. Why we are different slightly genetically speaking, like our melanin and things like that, is because regionally speaking, where we're from. I'm Irish. That makes me basically freaking Casper the Ghost. And short. And my last name's Boozer, but I don't drink. Oh man. Yes, Wes is the man. I like Wes's stuff. I really, really do. I like their stuff over there. But I don't know. I don't know. As far as that is concerned, he may be full of hair, but he wasn't a hairy Bigfoot. No, he was still a man. He was Esau. He can't. He had a mom and a dad who are human beings. So that makes that absolutely impossible. That's just that's like saying my mom and dad had sex and look at me. Okay, don't look at me. No, I'm just saying that that would be like them having sex, and the next thing you know, they give birth to Bigfoot. I can understand if there's some sort of deformity of some kind, some sort of issue, genetically speaking, where you end up with twin hairy kids in Mexico. That can happen. Things can happen, but you got to remember that that's more of a deformity. That's not an explanation for a complete species. It's not a new species of person just because they have a lot of hair all over their body. That was just a deformity. It was a genetic problem, a genetic issue, a breakdown somewhere. So that's the difference there. What are the top 3 Bigfoot videos you see prove a Bigfoot existence? First and foremost, the Patterson Gimlin film. Gimlin film. I love it. I think it was perfect. The science is there for it. I've seen this thing 6 ways from Sunday. I've seen everybody talk about it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'll tell you what, that ugly thing exists, and that was a real Bigfoot. I don't care what anybody says to me. I don't. My own family sometimes goes, "Oh, dude, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Whatever." I buy it. I'm in. I've heard this thing in the middle of the night. I have seen footprints with my own mom. My mom has heard screams in the night that there could be no other answer for. And I'm telling you, that's it. So you never seen Sasquatch, great stories. Some Mexicans because big brush around here. Oh, awesome. Yeah, you can look at the Hispanic community, especially when they're working out and about. It is true that a lot of them do a lot of the, out here in orchards and things like that. And no, it's not some sort of politically incorrect thing to say. It's just what they do, a lot of them do. And that's okay. And that's a great place to really start digging up a lot of information. A lot of we get some reports here in Oregon of the orchards outside of towns and up on the hillsides and stuff like that, and you get a lot of these migrant workers who actually do have reports. They never really say anything too much, but once in a while they do, and they have some pretty interesting accounts and experiences. Buff Creek, nice. The one of the Sasquatch picking apart the tree, then it stands up. Yeah, that's pretty creepy. That would be. I'm not even sure if I really want to see one. I mean, I do, but gosh, man, the sound of that thing that night was just huge and massive and just freaky. It's just gosh, I don't know if I want to see one, man. Legend of Boggy Creek. Yeah, that was a classic. What town is Leanne in Kansas from? Gosh, I don't remember. I'd have to ask her, and I'd have to ask her for permission to give out that information. I try not to give out any information that people don't want me to give out. So, and yeah, there are lots of reports in Texas. Anyone enjoy Vic Cundiff stuff in folks? So I enjoyed everything I've heard so far from you, PacWest. New here. Hey, Shorty Lee, thank you very much for being here. Just remember, my stuff is really just based on true stories. I have to do some filler information here, which is kind of creative writing, but the experiences are real. And so I really like to have my stuff, just so you guys know, 60% entertainment, 40% informational, educational stuff. To the interviews and everything else, and then what I do is I help put together these awesome backstories to the encounters and experiences. I didn't want to take the place of people, awesome people like Cundiff. I mean, he's just awesome guy, great show. I listen to that show every other night when I'm not listening to Chronicles or anything like that, and I never listen to myself, so I just don't. Once I record it, it's like I never listen to it again. Tell you the truth, I love Cundiff stuff. It's great, and please comment and tell him that Boozer loves your stuff. I do like Vic's stuff. He's just a really awesome guy. But he's kind of really into more of the more of the report kind of side of things, where I'm more of kind of like, you've got this huge, Bigfoot and Sasquatch community here, and we all love the really awesome factual reporting like the BFRO and Vic kind of stuff and Sasquatch Chronicles, where people are bringing these reports, and then you've got the other side where people are like me, who come from the more entertainment side of things, where some days I just don't want to read Bigfoot reports. I just want to hear a really awesome story that I think possibly happened. I just want to listen to it while I'm on my smoke break or my lunch break, or I'm heading off to bed for the night and put a headphone in my ear and just listen to a nice little campfire story. That's what I wanted to bring to this particular community, because I had kind of a flair for it. I had my own story. My mom had her story. My friends had their stories, and I just wanted to create those kind of backstories around them and have some fun with it, and just kind of bring that kind of awesomeness to you guys. And that's what I did. So Vic, kind of all those guys, they are all the true researchers out here. They really are. And when it comes down to getting that kind of research side of things, the science, the that type of like, I want a police report today, I suggest you go to those guys and you listen to those guys and pay attention to what they're saying out here. They have some really good advice. There's really good encounters out there that are just awesome. And so I do suggest that. But, when you're just kicking back and you want a good campfire story, here we are. Welcome to PacWest Bigfoot. Yes, I do interviews like everybody else, but I keep mine to about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And because I don't want to take the place or horn into what they're doing here online, the service. I believe they're providing a service. People like Vic Cundiff and all those guys are actually providing a great service. They're really going against the grain of the crazy, hyped up, finding Bigfoot stuff. I like finding Bigfoot. I watch it, but it's kind of like my stuff. It's kind of like more for entertainment value than I actually watch it for like, whoa, science behind this. There's no science behind sticking up glow sticks and dancing to some, upbeat tempo, dance mix. I mean, come on, really? So thank you, Shorty Lee, for being here, and just know that that why I'm here. This is the campfire side of things. So, or the guy in the canoe in Florida, the whole body. How many more do you think are in the Northwest compared to the Midwest and the rest of the country? Thanks so much, Dave, for what you do, Maze. Maze books sound awesome. Yeah, White Earp, this is we're gonna give this away. Lock your doors, country folk. This is a children's Bigfoot book. It's gonna be awesome, by Linda Newton Perry. So you guys will love that. What do I think about that? I think that there are some people believe there are 4 types. Some people believe that there are 4 types plus dogmen plus everything else. I believe that there's basically 2 types here. We have Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and the patty kind of deal. I believe that there is kind of there's a little bit of a difference between the same species. Some have more coned heads, some have a little bit more rounded or whatever. But I believe that there's also a thing called the skunk ape. I do believe in the skunk ape. I think that the skunk ape, especially down around the southern part of the United States, especially down in the southeastern part of the country, is where that thing is hanging out. Through the drier parts of the country, I just don't see how something that big and that hairy is really going to thrive. I just don't. I can understand mountain lions. I can understand other things that have fur coats or whatever. I get that, but man, come on, a 9-foot tall hairy beast running around the middle of a desert. It's hard for me to do that. So that's just my personal belief, though. So. And you do it awesomely. Thanks, Monster Egg. When anyone heard some college kids and kind talk about playing with young Sasquatch when they were children, living way out in the mountains, I could see it. It could be true. Any sort of like human interaction with them, I don't see why it's impossible, but I do see why we should be very, very skeptical of that. It is a wild animal. But then again, you have Jane Goodall who can befriend gorillas. Big, huge grayback gorillas. And, so is it possible? Yeah, I believe so. Let's see. We're just about done here, guys. A couple more questions if you want. Bigfoot is watching you. He is watching me. And Bobo in a dress. Yeah, that's kind of weird. I'm sorry. um, you should connect with Todd Standing. No, I'm not going to connect with Todd Standing. I'm sorry, Cody. Not much for Todd Standing. I'm just not. My stuff isn't really, I'm not going to go out there and say, oh, look, it's Bigfoot. I'm just kidding. I'm not sure. No. Nope. Not happening. There are people in this particular community that I just will not see eye to eye with. I don't see eye to eye with. I'm not a fan of Todd. I'm a bigger fan of Matt Moneymaker and those guys. So I agree, David. Todd Standing? Oh boy. Yeah, I think we had that conversation the other day. MK Davis uploaded yesterday. I think it's pretty cool. MK Davis, I've heard good and bad there. Personally, I don't really make any judgments on people until they really do something stupid or say something that just is out of whatever. So, and yes, there are such things as stupid things, okay? It's just a matter of fact. I've said stupid things, so I'll cop to it. Let's see here. Show a guy named Paul played with a young Bigfoot girl when he was a child. Great story. Yeah. I don't know. Possibly. Ever found bones or their poop? I've heard of bones being found and poop, and actually these things being taken to labs and literally unknown primates. We do have that. That is a matter of fact that there has been poop, scat, things like that, hair that has been tagged as unknown primate here in the Pacific Northwest. So just so you know, there is science backing that. So the community is divided. Yeah, I don't think we're divided. I just think that we know when there's a bunch of crazy crud out there and when there's not. And if people want to divide across those lines, they can if they want. I don't. I just call it crud. I just go about my business. That's about it. I'll go out there and read cool stuff from Jevning. I'll go out there and listen to Monster X Radio. I will listen to Chronicles. I'll even listen to Todd Standing when it's something, that's not so far-fetched where Bigfoot walked miraculously through my car while I was driving down a highway. So I'm good. Yay, science. Yes, science is, yeah. That's true. We need to get on the news. Yeah, here's the deal, Kane. Whether people are going to believe or not believe. There's a guy, and this is a true story. He actually owns one of the biggest, basically a trucking company in the United States back east. And for 3 decades, when he hired people, he would put them through a lie detector test. Every single time, the very last question was, do you believe in God? Really funny, because about 20 years into it, the guy who ran the lie detector test came to him and said, hey, I got something interesting for you I want you to see. And he showed him that every single time that he asked people if they believed in God and they said no, they lied. You can sit there and force people to believe things or try to get them to believe things or jump in their face at rallies. You can break into buildings on universities and try to stop people from talking just to see your way. And the thing is we're not going to see your way. We can't force people to do that. Even on the news, in the media, wherever it's at. The thing is that all we can do is keep the conversation going in a very nice, respectful way. And bring forth the evidence that we find and share it together. And, missing 401, story ideas. I try to deal with only stories, Wyatt Earp, that are actually brought to me. Either usually first-hand or second-hand. I will take third-hand at a time, but that's pretty much like talking to a third cousin. So it's usually it's first or second-hand. But back to that, the other thing, it's good, if you can get on the news and you can bring about, some sort of evidence or whatever. I think it's a great idea, Kane, and go for it, do it, get it in there. One of the best things that you guys can do also is start your own blog, start your own YouTube channels, bring out the evidence, start talking about it. You're not going to plug up the system here. Okay? You're not going to take away the income from Sasquatch Chronicles. You guys are just bringing about your voice. That's why we have the internet, for crying out loud. Always keep an open mind until the hoaxers show their true colors. Exactly. You always. Here's the deal. I always tell people, I will give you this much reach. But as soon as you do something stupid, I'm going to slap you with it. That's what's going to happen. So, always give people that room. Give people room to make a mistake, but also at the same time, give them room to do what's right. Give them room to do what's right. Okay? Always. Do I know you? You look really familiar. Alex Summers. Where are you from, Alex Summers? Or if you're talking to me. Next door neighbor says her ex conveniently disappeared. Yeah, right. Who knows? Yeah, maybe she killed him. I plan on when my kids are grown, I'm moving to one of the hot spots. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That'd be awesome. Yeah, you know what? Start your own little blog too. Get a little blog, little YouTube channel, and just start putting stuff up there. I know Brown Dwarf's doing that. He went over there and he bought one of my little services where I put all these like awesome blog and YouTube channel. We're going to be putting all that together for him. So it's pretty awesome. It's what I do for a living. So, yeah. I'm just waiting for Alex Summers. Alex Summers. I don't know. If you're talking to me, let me know. Yeah, I noticed the gaps if you pay attention long enough. Yeah, there's always gaps in certain, and I think you're talking probably about different stories and things like that. I find gaps in the stuff that I have to deal with, but the thing is that if you bring me an encounter, an experience, or something like that, firsthand or secondhand, I'm going to write it out anyways. I'm going to create the backstory with my own creative writing. I'm going to make them lawyers who had their experience, where they said it happened. Whatever. But the thing is that I'm not. Mine is not a show to sit there and dive in on whether or not things are true or false. It's really just to kind of share the experience in like I said, in a storytelling manner. More of an entertainment value, but storytelling. Native Americans have been doing it for thousands of years. It's just how it worked. Storytelling was a great way to sit there and express and tell people about events and things that have happened. And so that's what I wanted to do. Oh yeah. All right. So we are at time. I am done here today. I have got to get off here. I've been on this computer all week long, working. So, want to say thank you guys very much for being on here and everything else. There's a new encounter story up there. I thought this one was kind of cute. It was secondhand from friends of theirs, but they did say it was okay to do that, and they gave me their first names. So it was pretty awesome. So it's up there. It was a cuter one. It was kind of fun. So there you have it. Thank you guys. Thanks, Primitive Stops. All right, guys. Pass it along. Yeah, will do. Yeah, Su-Chan, please contact me. Also, I'm working on the logo stuff. If you guys want to get some of that stuff, I'm gonna make it is so cheap that I'm gonna really keep the cost of like the hats, the coffee mugs, sweatshirts, and everything else. I'm just gonna do it at whatever it costs to get it to you. So I don't, like I said, everything here that I'm doing, the only thing that pays for this here is your guys' kind donations over at PacWestBigfoot.com and basically the AdSense that runs on the ads. I just use it to pay for this stuff here. I use it to sometimes get some of the stuff that I like to give away and whatnot. So there you have it. So if you want to do that, that's awesome. Thank you guys very much. So with that, God bless you guys. I will try to get on here this next Friday as well in the morning. With that, awesome. Thanks, sexy. I'm sexy. Hey, I hope you were talking to me. Anyways, thank you guys. Thanks, Shorty. I will talk to you guys all later.